Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. Arthur Smith, for the first time, kind of acknowledged what I think a lot of us have been thinking this entire season, that Kyle Pitts is not 100%, still recovering from the knee surgery he had this offseason, which made me question, why is he even out there? I mean, these games, like, obviously the Falcons want to win and they do want to make the playoffs, but in the grand scheme of things, like, risking any further injury with Kyle Pitts, who you drafted 4th overall and hope to be a part of this team for the next decade, just sounds silly when you have Desmond Ridder under center and you're not even using him.
I don't know, man. You look back at that draft class too. You look, there's guys Pat Surtain comes to mind immediately. Micah Parsons,
Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase.
I mean, even Jamar Chase. Yeah, I mean, it's and I don't think it's a Kyle Pitts. I don't think it's his fault.
Let's not act like this is you put Kyle Pitts and Mike McDaniel's offense. I mean, we're going to be saying the opposite thing, like,
I think
I got Waddle and not.
I actually still think Kyle Pitts could have a great career and a great future in Atlanta.
Sure,
I'm not totally.
I was going to say,
but this injury thing is concerning. Like,
I think that
he's going to hit free agency with 2,500 career yards and get a massive payday.
I think that you could, paint it in a similar light as, and I know this is kind of apples, oranges, but it is somewhat in the same breath as Ronald Acuna was a shell of himself last year, and he was recovering from ACL. Kyle Pitts is recovering from MCL, different. I don't even know what each of those ligaments do, but, I think it's fair to kind of expect, another year where he's just kind of getting back into the groove of things, where we're kind of seeing a shell of Kyle Pitts. Now, the argument to say, why is he out there, have that, that's fine. I guess, if you don't want him out there risking further injury, then that's your prerogative. Me, if you think you could go, let's go. 80% Kyle Pitts is still better than most tight ends in the league. I just don't know exactly, is this like Ronald Acuna thing where it's like, it's just going to take another year for him to get back to himself? Or is this like, a degenerative thing where it's going to be, it's going to be this is the best he's going to be, and it could potentially get worse? That's concerning. But it feels like it's one of those, just need another year and then he'll be back to where he was. But even 80% Kyle Pitts is still one of the best tight ends in the league. Physically, how we're using him, obviously not.
Yeah, well, doesn't care about fantasy football or real life.
Yeah,
football.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you have to think that the Falcons do have his best interests and long-term interests in mind, that there isn't a risk of further injury or whatever. I don't know how they can guarantee that, but who knows? Maybe it is like something like Ronald Acuna. I don't know. The whole thing is just discouraging. You draft a guy 4th overall. You look back at that draft class. I hope he can come back and bounce back and have a much better year, but until they get a quarterback, until they start running, more creative play designs for him, until he gets healthy, I have a hard time believing that he ever gets back to where we thought he was going to be 2 years ago. I mean, this guy 2 years ago was legitimately already a top 3 tight end in football. And now we're just talking about him as chopped liver. I mean, he gets 2 catches for 20 yards. And we're like, I remember one, I think it was week 2 or 3. He had 2 catches on one drive. And I was like, oh, look, Pitts. And I had to clap it up. Like, that was like a big deal. He ended up with like 3 catches.
Yeah, it's real disappointing where we're at, where we're talking about top 10 picks. Are we wasting top 10 picks? I mean, that is how you kill a franchise.
Clearly.
You get back-to-back top 10, and you're just wasting them. And to Jake's point, or to Chase's point earlier, I don't even know which one of you said it. Like, are these guys even good? Kyle Pitts and Drake London? I think we answered that, his rookie year, Kyle Pitts nearly broke the all-time record for rookie tight end receiving yards.
I'm talking about this year right now with the injury, though.
Well,
I think obviously as a rookie, without a doubt, but like who he's been with the injury.
That's a fair. I still think 80% Kyle Pitts is one of the best top 10 tight ends in the league. Drake London as well. I just also think that the people who are talking about Drake London separator, Drake London this, it's like, well, he was never that guy. He wasn't Garrett Wilson. He wasn't Chris Olave. He wasn't a route runner. He's a physical guy who can make catches at the point of attack better than those 2 other guys. And I just think that, the people who are wondering, is he open? Is he open in the NFL? If you ask that question, if you have to ask that question, no. They're not open. But you have to throw people open in this league. And
what did Mars Chase say? I'm always open.
Always open. I bet Drake London thinks the same exact thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm you know,
this is a family program.
Yeah, family program. I'm always.
But that's the case in this league. I mean, people love to just assume that, you know, every offense is Kyle Shanahan, where we got guys running wide open. That's not the case with a lot of this league. It's either you scheme it up a little bit open and half a yard of separation is considered open, or it's a quarterback and wide receiver being on the same page, or pass catcher in general, where you're throwing these guys open. And I don't know if it's a Ritter thing. I don't know if it's a Drake London thing, but Drake London is still a good football player. I mean, that's not the issue. We're just not utilizing these guys.
Alex, here's your problem. Is you say this isn't a Kyle Shanahan offense. The problem is they're trying to run it like a Kyle Shanahan offense. You're trying to play Kyle Shanahan football, and if you aren't getting guys open, you're missing a pretty big part of that offense. This is supposed to be the ground and pound. We don't need the best quarterback in the world. You know, West Coast run the ball with creative run formations. That's part of the offense. So, yeah, that is a problem. You should be scheming guys open like Kyle Shanahan does if you're going to try to pretty much copy his offense. Like, that's going to have to be part of it.
It's a difficult situation, but if we go out there and stomp the Texans this week and we put up 40 points, we'll have a lot of these questions answered. But, yeah, me and Chase, that's going to be in the bold predictions.
I'll take predictions this week.
Chase and I have a buddy who came in. He was in Falcons camp this offseason. He came in, told us, you know, Kyle Pitts does not look right. We kind of held our tongue because we just didn't know. And it looks like that's the case. Like, he's clearly not right.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like a shell of himself. And now Arthur Smith has officially said that. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the Braves starting rotation as we head into October in the NLDS.